that the green light has the wavelength 500 to 570 nanometer, and one can see here that LED is glowing, right? Due to the studio light, there may be least glow which is seen. Here is a yellow LED, and I am providing it with the same forward bias voltage, right? Actually the current resistor, the current limiting resistor is used here, and that's why due to this value there is a less glow here. And also there is a white light LED. This white light LED says that it is glowing with a very full glow, right? Sometimes to make a particular color of the LED, if the material is not doped with a particular concentration, or if you don't get any particular energy band gap for the doping, then you can have a color which is colored to the epoxy region, or you can say that it is colored to the cap. And due to that, sometimes the violet light LED, they color the violet cap, and they can have that type of color from the LED. Now we are moving ahead for the LED characteristics. We have seen the IV characteristics of the LED, light emitting diode. It is one and the same as the PN junction diode, but here this is actually the response of the intensity of the LED versus the wavelength, right? This graph is called the spectral response, intensity of blue, yellow and red light LED versus wavelength. One can see that these are the Gaussian curves. Why Gaussian curves? Because it is concentrated at a particular wavelength, but it is not a straight line curve. Instead of that, it is having some width at the bottom. So these curves can be characterized by FWHM, full width at half maximum, and this can be measured using a very well known formula for FWHM, and this FWHM is the characteristics of the LED. One should remind that LED emits a particular wavelength lambda that is equal to Hc upon Eg, right? If Eg does not change, then why this type of another lambda, another wavelengths are emitted? Because of the thermal changes, the temperature changes, or some external energy changes. There may be some electrons which are having less energy than the energy band gap, or which are having slightly larger energy than the energy band gap, and due to this they will require slightly less or larger energy to be moved from the valence band to conduction band. And when this type of recombination occurs for this type of electrons, there is an emission of some larger or lesser wavelength, and that's why this say one can see in this blue curve that it is concentrated along a particular wavelength, but there is some width, some spread at the bottom of the curve. The same way for yellow light LED, the same way for the red light LED. These are actually the Gaussian curves, and from this one can see that most number of the photons, they are concentrated at a particular central wavelength, right? So it is very important to provide a particular value of the energy band gap, particular value of the power supply to the LED. Now what are the applications? It is actually the applications is in the instrumentation, digital clocks, advertisement displays. One can see here the battery which is LED operated. There are LED operated lightings, and we can have the most important application in the remote controls. Actually I have a car remote control here, which is actually car tap remote control. You can see the LED here at this point. Should I show it here? It is actually an infrared remote control. You can see that there is an LED here. It is actually an infrared remote control, and when you press the button, you cannot see the light. It is similar to your TV or tape remote control at your home, and you cannot see the light, but when you press the button, it emits the light, and due to that signal there is some channel change, or there is some change in your television. Here also one can see the connector that LED can be used as an indicator. this is actually the car mobile charger, and this indicator, this LED is red light LED. When this connector is connected to the car battery, it will be indicating that there is a current and now you can join the mobile. You may have seen your simple mobile charger with this type of red light LEDs, right? And of course in the laboratory circuits also there are LEDs which can be used as the indication of the circuit that the current is flowing in a particular loop. So for whenever you are using a large amount of loops in one circuit, one can have the this type of LEDs as the indicator at a particular each and every loop, so that you can at most you lost your LED if the current is not in the right direction. If it is flowing in the right direction, the LED will glow. And now it is the next application is about the 7-segment display. The 7-segment display is the well-known applications of the LED. One can see here in the slide that there are 7 segments of one letter. It is actually an alphanumerical letter. This is a number LED, and that's why 7 segments are used to display a letter. There are actually 2 configurations for this type of LED. One is common anode, another is common cathode. One can see here, this is the 7-segment display which can be used to light up the LED. This is actually the 7-segment display. It has 10 pins, from which one pin is common anode, another one is the common cathode, and we can have 7 segments. Now if we connect, and there is one dot, if we connect 7 resistors, and if we provide the simple common voltage to this 7 resistors, they are actually current limiting resistors, and to this type of LEDs one can have the different, according to this one can have the different segments light up, and we can have the whole 8, or if we light up these 2, then we can have the 1 as the display. If we accordingly go with switching on and off the LEDs, we can display the the numerical characters here. Now what will be the circuit configuration? I'll draw it on the notebook. See, the circuit configuration says that there is this type of alphanumerical display. Here is actually we are doing it for the 7 segments. So this is A, this is B, C, D, E, F and G. There are 7 segments, and if we connect this with 7 current limiting resistors, this is for A, this is for B, this is for C, D, E, F and G, and this is connected with a common pin which leads this resistance to the A LED. There is an LED situated here, right, and this B leads to B LED, C resistor leads to C LED, and consequently this G resistor leads to G LED, and each of this is connected with a switch, with a key, right. So if we want to display, as I said earlier, if we want to display the each of this key is connected with VCC, a common power supply, which is grounded at the end. Now if I want to display 1 here on the LED, then A and E should be switched on. So I will just switch on this key and I'll switch on this key. So what will be the display on the display board? It will be like this, right. So one can have A as the output, Now using this this numerical display key, one can have this type of display. And with the logical circuits, using digital circuits, digital input 0 and 1, we can automatically switch on and switch off this resistances, and we can have the different displays. Actually this is a 7 segment display. One can have a starburst display, which is which consists of 7 segments like this, as well as it is actually an alphanumeric display. And apart from this 7 segments, it has 1, 2 and 3 on the upper part, 1, 2 and 3 on the lower part. So it is actually a 17 segment display, which can display A, that is capital A, that is the A to Z in the first letters, A to Z in the second letters, and it can also display 1 to 9 and 0 in the numbers. So this is actually the basics of the alphanumeric display, which can be displayed by the LEDs. And what are the applications? You may have seen it on the railway station or on the airport about using this display. They displays all the information about trains and aeroplanes and all that. So today it is we will see the next portion, next devices in the next lecture. And thank you. I thank GTU and BISAC for providing me this opportunity. Thank you.